Good morning, everyone, or actually, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm speaking to you from the future because it's already Tuesday here in Vietnam, 7:20 a.m. Ready to drop some knowledge on managing a distributed team. My name is Iwo Szapar. I'm a huge remote work advocate and the CEO of Remote How, a platform that helps companies go remote. And today I wanted to help you learn more how to do it right, especially from the perspective of a manager that suddenly went all remote with the team. And this session is for you to get a better understanding how to get into this area. What are the challenges that you need to be aware of, and also how you can address them. So there will be a section on quick wins at the end. It won't be just theory and talking. There will be aspects that you can implement right away into your day-to-day life, either starting from today or tomorrow. So without further ado, I'm sharing the screen right now with you. Okay, sharing screen, perfect. I hope that you can see my screen right now. Yes, awesome. So let's get right into it. As you can see, it's not Google Slides. It's Prezi. It's their new video feature I'm testing. So let's see how that one goes. Awesome. So how to manage a remote team. I wanted to first start with your role as a manager, because it's different and you need to be aware of the differences, especially in a time of a crisis right now, where managers need to take the ownership, the full ownership, both of the overall team performers, but also, and I think what's extremely important and more different than in the office environment, of the productivity and the well-being of their teams. So what actually changes when you're working remotely? So obviously your role doesn't change. You still have the same KPIs, goals to reach. It's still the same company and the same product, right? But the tools, methods, and approach should evolve, right? So you adjust all of those things that I just mentioned before to be effective in the remote environment. So make sure that every single aspect you will look right now from the perspective of a remote worker, of a distributed environment. So once you're kind of, okay, I need to adjust, you need to understand that there are challenges within this environment, right? Some of your employees might experience decline in job performance and engagement. So it's on you to provide the necessary preparation and the training. Okay, so this is kind of like an introduction for you to just realize that, okay, we are in a different setup. We need to adjust. It's extremely important to look more on the personal, individual level, how you can support as a manager, and then going a bit deeper. What are the specific areas that you need to address? And here we have 5 most important ones, or at least the ones that we've chosen, but there are obviously more that could be listed here, but we don't have ours, and we also cannot write a book together, so we'll just stick to these 5. So let's get started with the first one. Lack of physical interaction with your employees. In the office, totally different setup. You can interact on a regular basis physically. You don't have the feeling where employees feel alone, right? And in some cases, for managers that are leading distributed teams for the first time, you need to go the extra mile to show people that that you're closer with them on a daily basis. And without this physical contact, you can really miss out on a lot of context. a lot of context that then could lead to some difficult situation. And here's just an example of you can call it an angry email from your coworker that would come totally different if you know that they are having a bad day. When you're remote and you're maintaining this this individual relation on a deeper level, then you know that something went wrong at their house, that the children are sick, like something is bad, and that's why this angry email is coming to you. Sure that you're intensifying the relations with your employees to really have the big picture on what's going on, not only with their work within their work environment. Okay, so more of that for sure. The second aspect, the social isolation and loneliness. So in the buffer stage of remote work 2020, that was the biggest challenge of remote workers. And right now, as remote workers don't even have a chance to go out from their own house, the really sudden all remote situation that is not remote as we have it in different circumstances. Just wanted to say it out loud that's not the case. I just wanted to make sure that everything works fine. Awesome. just checking this with like the technical aspects. So what is the message for you? Make sure that people won't feel lonely, won't feel isolated. That's why we need to increase the number of touch points, that the water cooler concept that I will talk about later on, that there is a bigger sense of bonding that is happening within your team. Because the last thing that you want to have is to have people that will burn out, that will have challenges with their mental health. We don't want that. So keep that, please keep that in mind. The third aspect that is a challenge that needs to be addressed is an access to information. In the office environment, oftentimes things are all over the place. And if you actually wanted to find out something, you're just going to your colleague and asking them. Besides the fact that it's extremely inefficient and it's interfering with someone's potentially deep work, it's really a best practice to start to maintain a single source of truth within the company, where there is one place with all the information. So this is like one aspect, but the second aspect is that everything should be written down. So in this case, if everything is written down, the information exists somewhere, and it's well cataloged, then maybe you won't even need to bother your colleague. You would just go to this single source of truth, of knowledge, how the process works, where's this data, where's this document, and it will really help to simplify how you're operating. So make sure that starting from tomorrow, you're putting more emphasis on writing things down and cataloging your knowledge in one place, because it would really be helpful for your team. So that was the third aspect. Moving on to one of my favorites, because this is truly related to a pure human-to-human contact. It's not just work, it's our life. And here I wanted to strongly encourage you to ask one simple question: do you trust your employees? And I do hope that everyone trusts their employees, but unfortunately, action speaks for themselves. And in most companies, managers actually don't trust their employees. In remote, this is the absolute foundation of the success. You need to trust your employees, and then thanks to this trust, they will feel accountable for what they are doing. So building the culture that thrives on trust and accountability is extremely important here. And if you are not doing this, if you won't be if you won't have this foundation in place, you will damage the team culture, and you will set up yourself and your team and your company for failure on multiple levels. So just make sure that you know what everyone is doing and that you trust them that they will deliver. Okay, So fifth aspect, kind of I touched on before, is this individual struggle with the productivity. A lot of employees that never worked remotely or from home from a longer period of time might notice that there is a decline in their productivity because basically they are in a different environment, right? They're in a different environment, especially during these tough circumstances. There's also a family that you need to take care of. So it's even harder compared to, let's say, like a standard remote work environment when your family is also working somewhere or your children are at home. So from the manager perspective, you need to make sure that you're going the extra mile to help them. And by helping them, I strongly wanted to encourage you to put emphasis more on the open feedback. The whole open feedback culture, the radical candor, is another one of another foundations of the success in remote work. And of course, you won't change this over the night, but make sure that you're actually asking open questions, that you would really look for places where people struggle, so then you can deliver potential solutions. So make sure that as a manager, you're delivering all the tools that they need, all the setup for their work to be performed effectively. So that was the challenge number 5 that needs to be addressed. And now, as I promised, we're going to my favorite part. So quick wins, call them low-hanging fruits. So all the things that you can implement right away to make a significant change how your team operates. So let's start with frequent check-ins and one-on-one meetings. It's a no-brainer, but just wanted to put it out there that one-on-one meetings are even more important within the current situation. You need to stay closer to your team. Couple of aspects that I wanted to mention here: practicing the right questions, what I just mentioned, open-ended question, follow-upping questions on specific areas. So the question is, hey, is everything fine? Won't solve the thing, because most of us will say, yeah, it's fine, right? You need to really make sure to address the questions around potential challenges in the right way. Radical candor model. If you never heard about that, this is a must for you. There's a whole book around it, but feel free to check some articles that would help you start encouraging people to really deliver open and honest feedback, because this is the only way how we can all improve. Last but not least, make sure that video calls are a must. A must that is really helping to get more context out of the conversation, but also it can help with the other challenges that I mentioned previously with loneliness and physical contact. So when you see each other, like you can see me right now, it's way easier to digest the message and basically to interact. So frequent check-ins and one-on-one meetings according to these few aspects that I just mentioned. Okay, so that was the first one. The second one, the culture of over-communicating. This should be your habit anyway. When you're making sure that you over-communicate what you're doing, what the team is doing, what are your struggles. And the second aspect is that everything should be put in writing. Every single thing should be put in writing. Whenever those are some discussions, documents, processes, everything should be put in writing. Oh, there is a motorbike starting. I don't know if you heard that, but it was kind of disturbing. The guy is going away. So getting back to our culture of communicating. If you haven't done this before in a structured way, create a simple document that would help everyone make the right decisions, proceed as you want them, like to do a project kickoff, and basically encourage people to start using this but make sure that you also follow with these steps, right? That's extremely important, that you lead by the example. You lead by the example. If you're setting up certain rules, then you're delivering on these promises, right? Okay, so last but not least, meetings. There is also tied to the culture of over communication. Make sure that all meetings have written agenda and that they have written minutes that are after the meeting shared with everyone. This is extremely important to make sure that everyone is on the same page, and even if they were not able to attend the meeting, then they would still be able to catch up on this. If you could just. Sorry, it's day life in the co-living. So just want to make sure that you don't hear the sipping water. So it's live, as you can see. Awesome. So coming back to our presentation, helping to prioritize is our aspect number 3. So in the remote environment, as mentioned before, some people might struggle to actually be productive and to make sure that they are prioritizing their work right. And this is where you, as a leader, as a manager, can step in. 3 simple things that you could do. Define. If your team haven't worked on weekly KPIs, weekly goals, this is something that would really help everyone know what they should be focusing on in a shorter time spans. So that's one thing. If you're using any project management tool, that there are for sure things like milestones, OKRs. So utilize this for weekly priorities and communicate it in the beginning of the week, and then make sure that there's a wrap up at the end of the week to kind of summarize what happened and what was delivered, what wasn't delivered. The second thing, how you can help people prioritize, is to encourage them for time blocking in their calendar for their whatever the task to be delivered is. And this way, you're helping yourself to understand, okay, it's 10 a.m. From 10 a.m. until 11, I'm working on this article. And you're not doing anything else. That really helps with keeping people keeping people focused and engaged on one thing. And you as a manager should help them introduce it, but then also, as mentioned before, follow up if that works for them. Maybe they need to tweak some stuff. Last but not least, protecting your team workflows from sudden requests from other departments. So make sure that every information flow that is needed is coming first to you, and then you're delivering these things to your team members, so they are not constantly bothered, if not necessary, of course, by other departments. But that requires processes, and processes requires writing them down. So we're coming back kind of to the previous thing around the culture of over communicating and also having the single source of truth. Last but not least, a message to all managers that are listening to us: empower your team. Empower your team every single day. Make sure that they have all technology and skills that would help them get their work done. You cannot take everything on yourself, and I'm speaking honestly from my own experience, because you will burn out. And that again ties back to the trust aspect and accountability, when by empowering your team, you're actually helping them do their job, but also feel better about what they're doing. So just like 3 action items. First of all, make sure that there's a right tool stack in place. open feedback. Is there anything else I can help you with? If there are some tools that will streamline your work. Then provide opportunities for social interactions. We haven't talked much yet about the culture aspect. In a sense of social interactions through water coolers, chats, coffee talks over video, team lunches that are done remotely. This is extremely important to bond with your team. So make sure that you're providing these opportunities. And last but not least, make sure that every single member of your team is clear about the decisions that are being made within the team. And also that they are able to make their independent decisions. Empower them to be their own managers, their own leaders, because this is the best way what you can do. If people feel that they can decide, they feel accountable, and they are. It's not you showing fingers and just like coming over to their desk and checking if they are working, right? Because the second you're gone, they might be turning on Netflix. That could happen. Yes, so those were the quick wins that can help you ensure that you're setting up your team for success. If you still wanted to dive deeper, because those were just 20 minutes of really rushing through certain aspects, to check out the free program that we just launched at Remote How. So we have 3 tracks for managers, for individual contributors, and for HR. Everything is completely free, so you can enroll in the program that works best for you. There is a manager track with some of the topics. They're kind of like a teaser before diving deeper into the whole program. It's been built with absolutely top-notch remote companies. Most of them were participating in this amazing event, like Dewey's Buffer and Vision. So make sure if you wanted to dive deeper into that to check that out. Okay, so that's all from my side. I hope that you learned something. If anything, I'm available on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me, and I will do my best to help out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was great. So now it's time for our live Q&A. We're at 0. I'm going to close the exchange. I will bring up the questions as you address them. And we'll just go in order from top to bottom. There you go. Over to you.
Okay. Not all of companies are at the same position to make the transition to remote work. What are some key factors to diagnose the readiness of a business, different cultures, industries, roles? So the first one, the most obvious one, but I will say it, is to make sure that the work can be done online, because without that, obviously, you cannot do stuff remotely. So that would be my first thing. Then, when it comes to cultures, industries, roles, we are seeing remote basically everywhere where you need your computer to perform it. So I won't look at this. It's rather like company specific. So most certainly online, it would be best if you're already utilizing certain tools to make remote work collaboration happen online. So like project management tools, video conferencing, communication tools. So all the stuff that you kind of have in place, but right now it's to make sure that that your employees are ready to work remotely. Managers know how to lead distributed teams, and then HR know how to build the whole setup around like the onboarding, hiring, and the culture. So those are the kind of things that I would look at. But then last but not least, it really boils down, and this is one of our findings, to managers. So make sure that your managers are ready to start leading teams that they don't see on a regular basis within the office. This is like the biggest shift. It's more of like a mindset shift, but that would be the factor that I will look at. I don't know if I need to do something.
So it just popped another question in there. It's, do you have any tips for streamlining communication with remote teams? How to filter out the noise, find out what conversations I need to be on top of?
Yes. So one thing, probably like most of you are using tools like Twist or Slack, is to make sure that you're very cautious when you're defining the notifications, who is actually about the message. Oftentimes people don't care about that, and it's like going to everyone who is within the channel. So make sure to be more cautious about notifications. So then these people that are notified, those are the true ones that needs to look at the message and maybe even respond. The other aspect that could help streamline is obviously to have a proper written communication guidelines in place, so people know how to behave. So the behavior that I just said is one of the many. So kind of probably like the best answer for streamlining is to actually have the proper communication policy that is both like company-wide, team-wide, but also individual perspective.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question is, how do we keep track of our team's progress and accomplishments, keeping employees accountable without micromanaging?
Yes, that's a great question. So I touched on this regarding setting up for example, the weekly priorities, in a sense of making sure that you're trusting employees on the outcome. So there's the beginning of the week. Okay, this is what needs to be done by Friday. I'm trusting you that you will deliver. I'm here for you throughout the week if there is anything that I can help you with, if you will have some questions, struggles, or if you want to brainstorm some stuff. But basically you're setting up the clear expectation on what needs to be delivered. It could be daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, like depending what's the time spent. But make sure that the goal is clear, that everyone has everything that they need to get it done. So micromanagement is gone. Like 2020, it's the official end of micromanagement. But from the manager perspective, make sure that it's clear for people what this outcome would be, and that they have everything in place to get it done. And here, of course, you should be using a project management tool, like for example, Asana, where you can track this progress even throughout the week or throughout the day, as people are accomplishing certain tasks.
Great. Our next question is, how to convince companies to go from home office to distributed?
That's a very good question, because this is basically what we are doing at Remote House since almost 3 years. There are so many reasons why remote work is even not the future. It's the reality, and why it's good both for the individual and for the company. But my favorite one is that if we are meeting the expectation of employees, if we are giving them what they want, and of course in a good sense, it makes a positive impact on their satisfaction, on their happiness. And from your perspective as a manager, it's one of your goals to make sure that your employees are happy and that they enjoy what they're doing. So if we look at the big picture, that in all studies across the board, people want to work remotely. There are just like differences if they want to work remotely full time, or if they just want to have the flexible working hours, something in between. But basically, this is their need, and you as a company need to make sure that you're meeting this need, because you don't want to have employees that are they're just simply sad and not satisfied with where they are. And we can of course talk about the positive impact that remote work is doing on the environment, which is also an extremely important aspect. We can talk from the pure financial aspect, that company can save a lot of money, not only on the office space, but also by streamlining and optimizing how the work is done, basically increase the productivity of the team. So we can go from truly a lot of angles here. And right now, if someone wants to convince to remote work, there is an endless number of reasons why you should be doing this.
All right, next question. And we've got about 4 minutes left. So I'm going to see if I can actually combine a couple of these. So this next thought is, you've been a remote work advocate for a long time. What is the common mistake new remote employees or bosses make, do you think? And then we have another thought further down that is for employees that are new to working from home. So maybe you can wrap those into one answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the common mistake is that people perceive remote work as the same type of work that you're doing in the office. Oh, I don't know. It's loading. If I'm frozen, if you can still see me.
I can see you and hear you on my end.
Okay, all good. I was just loading. Yeah. So basically, the perspective is that you need to look at remote work as a totally different environment, and that's why you need to adjust a lot of the things, a lot of the old ways of doing stuff to remote. So this is really like a big picture answer, because we can dive deep here into a lot of aspects and a lot of stuff I've been talking about during my presentation. So probably it would be best to kind of like go back there and look at the stuff that you're doing differently in the office, and then adjust the suggestions that were there to the remote setup. Speaking about the individual tips and tricks, probably like the one that I've mentioned in the presentation, but that is like extremely easy to start and to test if it works for you, regarding the productivity, is the time boxing, the time budgeting. So basically planning your day before, using your calendar and blocking certain periods of time for certain tasks. That would help you both understand what you will be working on. It will help your manager understand what you will be working on, what you will deliver, and will help you to organize your day.
All right, our next question is, do you find these principles are easy to apply multicultural, multi-country teams?
Yes, but that kind of adds another level of complexity. Definitely there are multicultural, multi-country teams. They're doing a phenomenal job on remote work. One of the best examples is Doist. They have employees all over the world, and they're doing a tremendous job to make everything work, even in a asynchronous way, which is like a top-notch expertise in the way how you communicate. So definitely it's doable. It would require both from your operations, HR perspective, more work, creating more scenarios. But yes, it's absolutely doable. It's one of the best ways to make your company more diverse, more inclusive, which according to studies will also have a positive impact on the overall productivity. So definitely it's the way to go. Strongly encouraged to do so.
Thank you. So we've just got 2 questions left. We're at 5:59, but if you don't mind hanging around a minute longer, I think we can get through both of them. So our next question is, what are you doing to stop burnout with the quarantine?
Oh no, I shouldn't be answering this question. Oh, someone else should take this question that is actually doing this right. But probably like one thing that actually helps me is to set up your phone notifications in like to be snoozed at a certain time of the day. That's the way how you can actually close your virtual office, and because we have these things all the time with us, right? And whenever there is an email, whenever there is a Slack twist message, when someone wants something from us, it's kind of like natural to respond, because you also have this feeling that, oh, I'm remote, they might think that I'm not working, although everyone is remote right now, but it's this kind of like I'm not working. So one thing that you could all do starting from today, adjust your push notification settings on your phone to have a clear check-in moment of the day and check-out moment of the day, and then you're done with the work for the day.